if I have chin hair, there's a part that pulls down over your chin. If I have chin hair, it slides up. So you need to have bare skin here in order for it to work. Even this stubble, and let's get some sound. Can you hear that? Sure.
I can't hear it, but I'm sure if you're doing that next to the microphone, the podcast listeners will be able to hear it.
They did hear me hiccup, that's for sure. So, but yeah, that's the big thing is I cannot have the beard and use the N95. But Betty also cannot stand seeing me clean shaven. It freaks her out too much.
Well, you've had the beard for quite some time.
Yeah. So we've hit upon a compromise. The mustache will stay in the
within the bounds of the N95.
Yeah. Because it goes from here to your chin, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking I could even do a bandito, but I'm not going to because it's too hard for me to even out. So I'm doing the mustache, and I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to grow the sideburns down here. So I'll have facial hair, but it'll be different.
When you do video meetings, do you have video meetings for the people you work with?
Absolutely not. We do not do video meetings.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That sounds unusual.
Well, it's the reason being we have many, many people in most of the meetings I go to. And video actually, if you can imagine, causes more of a lag on the system than if we do audio only. So we've taken to doing audio only.
A lag on the system. Are you doing some sort of internal video protocol? Like
I don't
everybody Zooms, everybody Microsoft Teams. You know?
Well, Ben, I can't go into exactly how things are done.
Of course
but
not.
Yes, something of that nature. There is a remote meeting capability that we utilize.
All right. Anyway, the reason I bring that up is because, fortunately, you don't need to worry about your appearance in terms of like maintaining a professional look for your employers if you're working from home and you have no video meetings.
I had a giant beard for a very long time that was, can I say, professional level. As though I was doing nothing but growing a beard at that point.
Like that was your job.
Yes, exactly. And if they had seen it, they would have said, "Hey, wait a second. We're not paying you to grow a beard. Get back to work." So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, I
don't know. Sorry, go ahead. Yep.
I have video meetings with a lot of different people that I work for, and I always feel the need to have to like look presentable. Even though my background, normally this isn't where I work, but my background is like a couple file cabinets and paper or piles of papers and like a stack of film equipment. I don't really worry about the background, but as long as my hair looks nice and I'm reasonably shaved and, wearing a shirt, then I feel that, I gotta make a good impression, because I'm a contractor, I'm a freelancer, I gotta impress the people I work with. I don't just have a job.
You gotta dress better than the people that you go in to see so that they know you mean business.
They know I mean business. And, and even that though, it doesn't really mean so much. As long as I like deliver on what I promise I'm gonna deliver and it's good work, who cares what I look like?
I mean, that's kind of how my office is as well. Yeah. A lot of it, I mean, that's the thing is that you've got, I'm just going to speak in generalities, Ben.
You?
All right? The American business, the United States business world that we live in now is kind of torn between the people who are like, we should just be remote all the time now. Being in offices is dumb. And the other people are like, well, I can't tell if someone's working if they're not in my office. I don't know what's going on. These young kids with their YouTubes and their computers and all that. So it's a fight. It's a fight. They they, and when I say they, I mean the business owners here in the Midwest where I live, tried to get a whole bunch. And I know this by talking to other people. As we know, I am 100% remote, but the people that I know who work right here, they tried to bring people in too soon, right? They were like, okay, let's bring everybody in. Everybody, you're going to be in 5 days a week now. All the kids are in school and all that. And then everybody's getting COVID.
Yeah, I know.
Our county is still 50%, 51% unvaccinated. More unvaccinated than vaccinated people. Yep.
Wow.
And yet we have 100% in classroom schooling.
Yeah, because if you ignore a problem, it'll go away. That's the Midwestern mentality.
So it's pretty.
Yeah. I liked working in an office when I went into the office. I contracted for a number of months at a large downtown business. That's not the large internet retailer that we often talk about, but it's a different one on the end of the alphabet spectrum. And
wait, I don't know.
Actually, that had a bit of a double meaning because Alphabet's the name of Google's parent company, but this has nothing to do with Google or its
I figured as much.
But anyway,
I don't like this new. So, really quick, Jennifer downloaded a new version of Audacity, and it's really nice. But whenever I peek now, it draws a red line that shows me that I peeked.
Oh, is this the new privacy? What do they call it? Spyware Audacity?
Oh, is it? Maybe, yeah.
Because I know that a new version of Audacity doesn't do so good when it comes to privacy controls. But going back to
go ahead.
Working in an office.
You were talking about
as a contractor, working in an office was actually pretty great because when you're freelance and you work, from home. I work here at the theater. You miss out on things like free food in the break room. Not having to make your own coffee. This was a large business, and you didn't it wasn't like everybody's got to take a turn buying and making the coffee. They had people doing that for you.
That's what I was going to ask. Is I was like, are you saying that there's a barista in the office?
They had a whole section of a floor devoted to coffee. They had a game room they had a jam room. I'm probably, if you know who this company is, I'm probably giving it away, but they had a whole jam room where it was just it was a soundproof room. They had an electronic drum kit, some guitars, other various instruments, and you could just stop working for 20 minutes, get some friends and go down and jam for a while. They had a candy wall, for God's sake. I miss the candy wall, man. My skin doesn't, but I do.
Oh, wait, no. I'm still trying to figure out who it is. You'll tell me after the show, right?
I'll tell you after the show.
Okay.
I've talked about
I will not tell
before.
you after the show. I never talk to you about anything, Ben.
So yeah, I kind of do miss going into the office just because of all the free crap you got. I didn't care for interacting with people. I don't really need that sort of energy. I will say, however, that I am a productive mofo when in the office compared to when I'm not in an office. Because I get distracted really easily, and I can alt-tab over to Facebook or Twitter like nobody's business. But if I'm in an office and people are looking at my screen, then I don't do that.
I am the exact opposite. I do not work well in an office because I'm listening to what all the other conversations. And Jennifer will mention this to me sometimes too. I won't listen to the person that I'm actually talking to, but I will hear all of the conversations around me. Oftentimes Jennifer and I will be out eating, and I'll be like, "Oh man, that's too bad." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, he says he's going to go to work instead of going to this date night thing that they had planned because he's got some sort of a meeting. She is not happy about it." And she's like, "Who?" And I'm like, "Well, those guys over there." That kind of thing. Because she is not clocking those conversations.
No,
but
when I was working in an office, I always had headphones on because I have to listen to what I'm doing. So
right.
I couldn't get distracted by other people talking in the office.
But you also can't listen to podcasts.
Correct. I also can't listen to podcasts. My podcast consumption is probably one of the lowest in America of those who actually do subscribe to podcasts.
So I can't tell you what I do, but I can tell you how I work, Ben. And let me tell you, it's great. I recommend this to anybody who has a hard time, like a what do you call it? Imposter syndrome kind of thing. Like, oh, I'm not good at my job, whatever. I write down what my job is, and I write down what I do, and I write down tasks on just a notepad. Notepad in Word. Just open up Word, have your task written down in a notepad. And whenever I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing again? I just start at the top and I go through all my duties and I'm like, okay, did I do this? Did I do this? Did I do this? And it is really great because by the time I get to the end of my list, I know that there's nothing that I forgot. Whereas before I started doing this, a day or two could go by and all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, I haven't done X, Y, or Z for 3 days. And I should, especially if it's stuff that you need to keep keep track of. It's not a bad idea to do that, to make the list. And then if you do forget something, you put it on the list and then you're good.
I actually do a similar system. I have a Pages document in my iCloud that I can access and edit from both home and work, and that's my to-do list. And it's actually itemized by company because I have different clients that I work for, and and thing, and it's taken over the place of my notepad that I used to keep by my desk.
Yeah, see, I used to have a whiteboard, and now I don't have a whiteboard.
I mean, that's a choice. That's a you choice, though. You can buy one and put one up if you want.
I don't like putting anything on my wall. I'm a renter, so I don't like messing with.
Paul, I've seen the houses you rent. You could probably put a whiteboard up.
Actually, you've seen this house. Yeah,
I have seen that house.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. We are not going to leave until Betty graduates. This is something that we've discussed. We've discussed just like what Betty's academic situation would be like if she was in Seattle, because in Seattle it's very easy to get lost in the system. Whereas here the school is very responsive, and they care. They're friends. They're friends now.
Friends are important.
Nice. Yeah. So
you wouldn't.
So waiting until later to do any sort of moving, and there's an idea that the house is too small now for everything we want to do, but I feel like the real problem is I'm not cleaning the house enough. And that if I were to clean the house and organize it and everything, it wouldn't be too. Because I think of Chris Compte. Shout out to Chris Compte. His house, much smaller than this house, but not empty for sure.
I don't think I've been to Chris's current house.
Oh, I don't know his current house. When he had an apartment, and we got. Remember when we had the flood at our house?
Yes. No. Yes. Maybe.
So for a while, Chris had us staying with him. And well, he wasn't there. He like went somewhere else. But it was really great. Everything was super organized.
You know what? I mean,
because he lived on a boat at one point.
Yeah, you got to be real. You got to be real efficient when you live on a boat. Yeah. And like he was all about the livable vehicles. He had a boat and a van that a camper van. But there's a time when cleaning and organizing and tidying is just like, it's a great way to spend a couple hours on Sunday. So we're having an audience here tomorrow and Saturday. There's a rental, and on Sunday I basically just put my headphones in and straight organized and cleaned the lounge, the green room, the bathroom. Spent a couple hours just like doing nothing but just making sure this place was public ready. And it was great. I mean, it felt very good to like get everything in order. And apparently I missed like the biggest thunderstorm of the year. because I was just like rocking out with my headphones.
You know, for quite some time, and you might remember this, I would sleep through New Year's. I would fall asleep, and then I'd wake up and it'd be the New Year, and I wouldn't stay up for the changeover. And the reason I mention that is that missing things when you're doing something that you like isn't necessarily that bad of a thing. And also, it's still a story. You know, the day that I missed New Year's. Oh, so something we were talking about before we were on the stream. Well, first of all, the one thing that we should say is that this stream, which how many people do we have watching the stream right now, Ben?
One person.
One person.
It might actually be Steven. I'm not sure. He's been chatting at the GudeLaurance phone number. He says the red line should be avoided when you peaked. So yeah.
Obviously, yes.
But nothing else. But so yeah, we have one person watching.
So to that one person watching, we will not be streaming for a couple of episodes probably until the stream rig gets back up.
It's all a question of A, will I have time to set it up before next week's show? And B, does the company want me to set it up? Because it takes up a number of seats in the house. But if we're going to start having audiences again, we don't want A, of all these seats to be taken up, and B, of all this equipment to be, you know, right here with nobody watching it. So that's a conversation that I need to have with the staff.
But the main thing is, we will not be streaming at least for one episode.
Maybe
we'll
for one
that
episode.
For sure. So, but the thing I was going to say is I'm trying to get a better streaming setup. I'm going to be getting a camera. Hopefully, the one thing I don't know is if we have enough USB room. I would hate to have to unplug something. I didn't think about that.
You know, there's an obvious fix for that. You can just buy a little USB multi-dongle.
Might have to do that.
I have a number of them.
The other thing is, and we've talked about this, I am now too overweight. I am up to 210 pounds, which is too much for me. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do.
Average, like what? Not your goal, but what do you normally hover around? Like,
well, when I was in Seattle walking around every day and all that, about 180.
Okay.
And when I moved here, about 200. So it's not that much more than
that Midwest barbecue, huh?
Well, yeah, and there's the other thing of just I think better when I'm eating. That's what I'll say. It's one way of regulating my the way my brain works. But unfortunately, see, here's what's been happening. I have been waking up at 4:25 in the morning every day with my back just hurting like crazy. And Jennifer informed me.
We discovered it's not the pillow.
Right. I thought it was the pillow, but it's just that I happened to buy the pillow while I was already also putting on weight. Yeah. I think. But Jennifer says that I have stopped breathing in the night several times. So
that wakes you, that you choke yourself awake and then you go back to sleep.
This is the thing is she never talked about me choking myself awake. So I don't know how it exactly works.
Because that's a pretty common thing, right? I don't know if that's technically sleep apnea or
sleep
whatnot,
apnea. Yeah. And it happened before when I had put on weight before, and it stopped when I lost weight. So we're hoping that should be.
Do you normally sleep on your back? Like, does human anatomy not really allow if you sleep on your back for like somebody who's carrying a few extra pounds? Does it compress your lungs and makes it harder to breathe?
I think that's kind of what it is. And here's the thing: is when I was a kid, I would sleep on my stomach all the time.
Yeah.
Right. But when your stomach is bigger than it normally is, sleeping on your stomach isn't the same. Like, so I put a pillow on my chest in order to make a flat surface for myself to lie down on. And then I don't have it as much, but my back still hurts. My back hurts no matter what. That's the big problem. And it doesn't hurt. That's the thing, is it doesn't hurt when I'm walking around. It only hurts when I've been sleeping for a while. So it's weird, but something to watch out for.
They gotta sell something that allows you to sleep standing up, right? Like astronauts do. You know?
Well, I have a chair that I sleep in sometimes, and that really helps. But it doesn't like when I sleep in the chair.
I toss and turn too much when I sleep to be like confined to something like that.
Me too normally, but after a while you get used to it. It's like, imagine, if you will, that you're sleeping on a branch of a tree. Eventually you learn not to roll over as much.
Yeah, that's why all those panthers don't fall out of trees.
Yeah. Oh, that we know of. I mean, really, honestly, how long?
I mean, natural selection. All the panthers that fell out of trees just died off and left us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's right.
For those of you who believe in evolution.
It's funny, the way that you said that, all the panthers that fell out of trees just died off, like they just died off, like they died off this week. Didn't you hear? They all just boom.
Yep.
That's not how
they all fell at once,
ladies and gentlemen. That's the thing, is that evolution, I get it. Some people don't get it, but I totally get it.
You understand evolution?
I do, Ben.
All right, tell me how it works.
Okay, so here's what happens. People say, for example, this is the wrong thing people say about evolution a lot. Giraffes' necks got longer and longer so that they could eat leaves out of trees.
Yeah.
No. Giraffes with longer necks were able to survive better, so they reproduced more. That's how it works. You as a and I guess it's semantic a lot, but you as a species don't go, hey, I want to do this, and then evolve to do that.
Right.
You as a species, in concert with your environment, have a natural selection happen where the people who are more likely to reproduce pass along their traits.
That's why it's called natural selection. That's why it's called natural selection and not natural trying really hard.
Exactly. That's right. It's not called gymnastics, Ben. So, speaking about that, have you seen Jim Cotta?
Put the nasty back in gymnastics. I'm sorry, what?
Jim Cotta, the movie, have you seen it?
I have not.
Okay. Jennifer was talking about how a lot of the martial arts that we like to watch in movies are really gymnastics more than anything. Like Jason Statham is a gymnast, first and foremost. And
he's a dancer.
There is a movie called Jim Cotta that is all about this guy who is a martial artist and a gymnast, and uses his gymnastics martial arts moves to fight a town full of crazy people at one point. And it's pretty awesome.
Speaking of awesome, I just finished season 3 of the Netflix series Cobra Kai, based on the 1980s movie The Karate Kid, which I really dug. It's not serious TV. It's something that you watch at the end of the day when you're trying to wind down and you just need some like brain candy. But it's charming AF.
Well, yeah, I've seen some of it. And for those of you who don't know, spoilers for Cobra Kai, I guess. Johnny
Lawrence, played by William Zabka, who is I don't know if I'd call him the primary antagonist of the Karate Kid. He was definitely in that circle, but he was the guy that Daniel kicked in the face with the swan kick at the end of the movie.
Yeah, and so it's
Sorry,
all about
spoilers
how.
for Karate Kid,
Oh
1984's
yeah,
Karate Kid.
sorry everybody. Um, but really, I mean that show really did a great thing. It's something that I like that the Invisibles comic did at one point in time, where in the Invisibles comic, King Mob shoots a guy who's just a guard. Spoilers for the Invisibles, I guess. Yeah, guard gets shot at one point. Everybody,
Damn
careful.
it.
But then there's a whole comic that's just that guy's life up
Yeah.
until the point that he gets shot, and it's really nice. In the same way, we get to see how Johnny's defeat affects the rest of his life, and
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, and
Pretty
it's
interesting.
actually, I mean, it's one of those things where like Johnny for
Our
all of his
episode's a half hour.
yeah, they're about a half an hour. The later
Okay.
seasons run kind of like 35 40 minutes. But the it's Netflix so they have no time limit. But it's really great because it's sort of like reintroduces you to this character and reimagines, like, he becomes the sympathetic character for the
Yep.
series. And Ralph Macchio's Daniel, who was the hero in the movies in the 80s, is sort of like this jerk now. I mean, he gets kind of rehabilitated as the series goes on, but at first you're like, you are totally in Johnny Lawrence's camp, right?
Yep.
He's your guy, and Daniel is like, this a-hole that just is, happens to be in his life again. But I want more of those. I want more like rehabilitation stories for like minor villains from the 80s. I would love to see, I mean, we kind of got it in Back to the Future, but like a legit like Biff storyline,
Yeah.
Something like that. Where the bad guy's not like a murderer or anything, or a rapist or anything like that. The bad guy is just, it just happens to be some sort of like, kid, young adult who is led astray by maybe family or father figure people that aren't really good father figures after all.
Although there is something to be said of. Did you ever see the 1980s? I think it was 1980s or 90s TV show Profit? Profit. Profit.
I don't think I have.
It was sort of, it wasn't Dexter, right? But it was kind of a proto sociopath, psychopath as main character TV show. It was a Stephen J. Cannell property. Do you remember Heroes?
I never
The
watched
TV
it,
show
but I
Heroes?
remember when it was on. I think we watched one episode when you and I did the motel film.
Maybe so. The guy who
Yeah.
could fly in that was the main character in Profit, and he was a business guy, but he would do all these sorts of things to get ahead. But then, in the end of the day, he would sleep naked in a cardboard box because he was kept in a cardboard box by his parents when he was a kid. Just really weird, really a very strange, and I'm sure that it's available streaming somewhere now, if nothing else on YouTube. I haven't revisited it, but the idea that you could take a minor villain and see where they are now, like in Cobra Kai, is really awesome. And
Yeah.
it'd be great to explore. Whenever we can get to the point of video and audio being seamlessly created by AI, first of all, goodbye reality. That's no one's going to believe anything anymore.
You just punch into your TV, you punch into your meeting machine, I want to see this story, and it spits it out.
Exactly. That's right. Or you just say, I've watched all these things, come up with something that I will enjoy.
Yeah.
And I think that I
Can't
honestly
imagine-
think that
Can't imagine
Sorry,
the
go ahead.
writers. I can't imagine the Writers Guild would be too happy with something like that.
well, that's the thing is that, the Writers Guild, the Actors Guild, all that stuff, it's going to be nuts. Movies are going to be thought of kind of like theater. How theater is thought of. It will be a higher art form. It will be
Yeah.
Well, I guess film already. Ben, at some point in time, film will be respected as an art form. What am I talking about? Speaking about
The IATSE
the
strike.
oh yeah, so I was talking to somebody about this. Fill in the people who don't know what it is, Ben, if you will, please.
The best I know about, so IATSE, the union of behind the scenes people in film and TV, are under an old media contract, and they were promised that I don't know what they were promised, but the studios, the producers, didn't want to pay more for content that went on streaming services because streaming services were a new thing and they don't know if they're going to make money. Well, now streaming services are making all the money. And IATSE is going to go on strike unless their demands for higher pay due to streaming services revenue is met. That is my understanding.
And at one point in time, people were like, are you really going to go strike against the film industry? And a representative from this group said, we are the film industry.
Exactly.
And my statement to that, people are like, well, no new shows then, get ready for that. And I'm like, you know what? That's fine. I have so many shows
I know
that I have to catch up on. Take a year off. Can you imagine, Ben?
Well,
no
they
new
kind
shows
of.
for a year.
I mean, they kind of already did when the pandemic closed everything last March. You know, last year we were saying the exact same thing. We're like, say goodbye to new content.
Yeah, and then Inside came out. Bo Burnham.
Still haven't seen it.
And oh, you should, Ben. You should. I really liked it. That's what I'll say. So
yeah.
What I was going to say, though, is that Blake 7, Ben, I got BritBox. Do you have BritBox?
Do not have BritBox.
BritBox, I think, is worth it. It really is worth it if you like a lot of British shows, which I do. But one of the things they have that this is what sold me on it. They have Blake 7. Blake 7, if you don't know, one of the writers of Doctor Who around the time that Tom Baker was the Doctor had this project as well. They created it. And you've seen Serenity, right?
Yes.
Firefly.
Yeah.
The model for that was Blake 7.
Oh, so this is a show from like the 70s?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. They may not agree with it. They might not say that they did it. What I mean by that is just, and so Serenity, you've also got, in a little ways, I guess, Farscape. The basic idea of outlaws on a spaceship rather than them being part of the government or whatever.
Yeah.
These are people that are sort of guns for hire. In this case, in Blake 7, Blake is a freedom fighter. And so he has high ideals and all that, but it is so good. I was worried that it was going to be bad, but I've been watching episodes of it, and it is so good still.
Good. Steven likes it as well.
What? Steven likes it? Oh,
Steven,
hey,
he's
Steven.
Right there with you on Blake 7.
Hey, here's a conversation for me and Steven to have through you, Ben.
No.
Care Avon. Dungeons and Dragons alignment chart. Where does Steven think Care Avon falls?
If Steven wants to discuss that, he can call in to the show at 216-586-4524. We'll put you on, Steven.
All right.
And you can talk about that. I have nothing to contribute because I had not even heard of this TV show.
Well, it's totally worth it then. And of course, they got Red Dwarf. And they have a lot of British game shows, which I like. Speaking of British game shows,
QI is the one I know
QI
the
is
most.
on there. Also, 8 out of 10 Cats, I believe it's called.
There's one that I saw on YouTube. I saw it because somebody posted to it because the YouTuber Tom Scott was on one when he was like in college. Connections? Is that the name of it?
Oh, I don't know that one. Yeah.
All right. I think it's called Connections, but these kids are smart, dude. It's like I don't like. I can hold my own when it comes to like Jeopardy, but this crap is
What is it exactly? What do you do?
You have to find the connections. So they'll have like a category, and then so they'll have a category like music, right?
Okay.
And then they'll have Buck, and you have to try to guess what the next one or what the final one is. They have like 3 empty things, and you have to guess what the final thing is gonna be, right?
So it's like it's music. They have Bach, and you have to guess what the final thing is. I'm like, what?
So. So what's the final name? So Bach. So you might think composer or you might think classical, and then the next one is Pearl Jam, and you have to guess what the connection is. What's connecting these, and you lose points the more clues you get. And so the next next one's gonna, yeah.
So it was. I'm very interested in that. I'm going to see if they have it.
Look it up. There's a lot of these episodes on like full length episodes on YouTube. It's a lot of fun to watch actually, but you know some of these clues. It's like when you I don't know if you've listened to the game show Says You on NPR, but again, it's one of those things where it's like these contestants have to have the answers beforehand because how can you get this answer?
So the one other thing I would say is I wanted to follow up on the 8 out of 10 cats. I didn't really like 8 out of 10 cats that much, but like so Jimmy Carr, you know Jimmy Carr.
Of course I do. We're good pals. We go back to college. Yeah,
he's the host of it.
Yeah,
and it's them talking about like news reports or statistics or something like that. But at one point in time, there's this TV show also on the same network called Countdown. That's all about doing anagrams and adding and subtracting numbers to get to a certain thing.
Yeah.
And
that show too is pretty intense. Those guys are those people are super smart on Countdown.
So they have a show now called 8 out of 10 Cats Do Countdown, where the people from this other show took over the Countdown set for a while, and it became the most popular thing.
Yeah,
and it's really good.
I haven't seen it, but YouTube recommends that to me. Probably because I've watched Connections. I've watched QI when Stephen Fry was the host. I've watched all these British shows.
Have you watched Would I Lie to You?
I don't think I've seen that one, but I have. I mean, I think one of the reasons why YouTube constantly recommends all these shows to me, which I haven't watched, is because there was a point in time where I hoovered up the year in review quiz show hosted by Jimmy Carr, the name of which escapes me. Of course, I watched all of them.
Right. That might be
the best quiz, the best quiz of the year, or something like that. Big fat quiz of the year. That's the name of it.
That's right. Yeah.
That's actually something
which I like as well. Noel Fielding on that. Always a pleasure.
Noel Fielding. It's where I got my intro to a lot of British comedians and personalities.
Richard Ayoade, also.
I saw him first on the IT Crowd, but
yeah.
Jonathan Ross. I think I first saw Jonathan Ross on Big Fat Quiz.
He was on those. That's right. So Steven didn't call in, obviously.
He's not called in, but he says 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown is the best version of both shows.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. It just works. And I can't. And then Taskmaster. Have you ever seen Taskmaster, Ben?
I have not seen Taskmaster.
I highly recommend Taskmaster. They tried to do one in the United States with your friend of mine, Reggie Watts, as the Taskmaster.
Oh, really?
It did not go well. Yeah, which is too bad.
You mean I find that amazing because everything Reggie does is gold.
I will say this: it was not Reggie's fault.
I'm not saying that, facetiously.
No, it was absolutely not Reggie's fault that it did not do well.
All the suits got in the way, man.
That's all I will say. I believe this is the case.
Yeah.
Yes. It's one of those situations where if you let Reggie do what Reggie wants to do, it's going to go great. The more conditions you put on him, he'll still do his best. And it will be better than anyone else would do under those circumstances. But you know this as well as I do, man. The suits kill the comedy, Ben.
I know that so well. I always tell this story whenever Reggie Watts comes up in conversation with people around here who don't know or who know of him but don't know he used to hang around here. That there was one Spin the Bottle in what is now the Tin Table in the Oddfellows Hall. It used to be the Velocity Dance Studio, and he was on the bill, and he was like the third act or something. And we would always lock the doors when the show started to, prevent people from just walking in. Well, I'm just hanging out in the hallway, and I hear this knocking on the door. I open it up. There's Reggie. He is on next. He goes out when it's time. He gets there literally like 5 minutes before he goes on stage. Yeah. He may have even been like bumped. Brett might have actually had someone go on because Reggie wasn't there. Something like that might have happened. He goes out on stage, wows the crowd, does a brilliant 10, 15 minutes, and then leaves. And he just leaves.
Yep.
You're welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You just experienced the Reggie Watts tornado.
And there was one time, which I remember very, very well, where we had not gone on yet. And Reggie just showed up and he did a thing and then he left. And I forget what we did, but it was one of those where you and I were just looking at each other. And there are some nights when this happened. We do our best every single night, but there are some nights where we're just like, well, let's get this over with.
Well, one of the things that we were always afraid of is, even though we did pretty unique stuff, we were always afraid of somebody doing a version of what we were going to do, but better. And we would have to follow that. It seemed like almost every time we were going to play music, there was a band before us.
Yes. Or a classically trained, here's a classically trained cellist who's going to improvise for 5 minutes. And then we're like, well, great. Here's our 2-chord song.
Also,
about the fact that I can't stop pooping out monkeys or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, when Reggie had, when we had the Reggie Watts tornado, I failed to mention that the stress that the beleaguered Spin the Bottle stage manager at the time had to go through. One Mr. Stephen McCandless, who probably had to deal with this more than the curator of the show. And so yes, Stephen, I got that. Oh, and he just reminded me of another story where we had at Spin the Bottle, we had a performer show up. He was gonna sing a song. And he showed up and he's like, does anybody have a guitar? And so Steven found him a guitar. And this was at this time we were doing it at the, just down the hall from Velocity at Freehold. Yeah. And that wasn't our theater. We rented it once a month. We didn't have anything there. Yet Steven was able to find this performer a guitar to play for his song.
And they were like, "Oh, this guitar? Don't know." Kidding. Oh, hey, here's something. This is hot gossip, Ben. Hot gossip.
Ooh, hot gossip. I'm putting that in the show notes.
Reggie Watts doesn't listen to our podcast, so this will be fine. But I remember the first time I ever saw someone looping music on stage, and it was not Reggie Watts. Reggie started doing it after this person. Do you know who this person is?
Was it Ivory Smith?
It was absolutely Ivory Smith.
Yes.
First person I ever saw in my life doing that as a thing.
Was it what's her song? Landmine?
Tiny Bubbles?
Yeah, I think we're thinking of the same thing. I just can't remember the name of the song.
Yeah.
But it's about like drowning or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Bubbles, bubbles, bubbles.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember it being magic, being like, oh, I can't imagine. This is amazing.
I remember that performance.
And then, of course, when Reggie Watts got a looper, I was like, well, that's it. That's it. Nobody else. Although there's a guy named Marc Reveille. It's a French last name. And I wish I could remember it, because this is too bad too, because somebody said that I needed to change my name for show business. And I said, you know who Zach Galifianakis is, right? And they're like, yes. Yeah, so that's not going to...
His real name is Joe Smith.
Marc Reveille. Just look up Marc Reveille and then looping. And he's really good. He does his own thing.
Marc Reveille?
Yeah, Marc Reveille.
Rebillet.
Yeah, I believe so. And
he's got a video
like a mustache.
He's got a video on YouTube called The Loop Daddy.
Yep. He's really good, and he and Reggie Watts had a little jam session at one point in time, and it went pretty well. I got to see an outtake of it. So yeah, but I have a looper now, and I have not done anything with my looper for some time.
You've also not done anything with your video.
It's low battery time, Ben.
Yo. Well, we got 4 minutes left until 5, and probably 7 minutes left until we complete a full hour.
Yeah, I got 20% battery left. Ben, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep on going until my phone quits. And when my phone quits, I'm still gonna talk for an hour. You can do whatever I'm gonna put the hour out. I'm gonna still keep on talking. You can keep talking also if you want to, or you can, as we say, tap out, Ben. Either way. But this is still going to be an hour whenever my phone dies.
Probably will tap out.
By the time my phone...
Well, once we finish, I get to tear down all this nice equipment and store it away in a secure place.
Exactly. Speaking of storing it away in a secure place, hey, Betty!
Oh.
We'll see.
Hooray.
They may show up, they may not. Who can say? They can say.
Betty knows that they don't have to do this, right?
Yep. I tell them all the time. But I do wonder, of course. Wait, what's happening? Oh, okay. Happening? Betty is eating dinner. So right there will not be a Betty. I'm really hungry.
Well, it is almost 8.
I don't know if I mentioned this, but I have... No, it's not. No, it's not, Ben.
Huh?
It's almost 7.
Oh, that's right. I keep thinking East Coast time.
Yep. Nope. I am Central time.
Central.
Oh, speaking about which, we went to Uranus, Missouri again.
No, you didn't.
We totally did. Yep.
What's up in Uranus, Missouri?
Ben... Uranus, Missouri, if you don't know this, I can't believe I haven't told you. Uranus, Missouri has a fudge factory. And the slogan is, the best fudge comes from Uranus. This is absolutely 100% true.
God.
And if you don't believe me, take a look at my shirt, Ben. Take a look at my shirt. You see my shirt?
Uranus Fudge Factory on historic Route 66 in Uranus, Missouri. The best fudge comes from Uranus.
Look at that. I forgot that I was wearing this shirt. I was like, if there was only a way that I could prove to Ben that, oh, wait a second, I got the shirt on. And it's great because it has a shooting range, which wasn't open because it didn't have bullets, because ammunition is hard to come by.
Because everybody's hoarding it?
Yeah, but
awesome.
Yeah, it's weird. It's
so happy for America.
It really is a sort of testimony to America, because there's this, it's called Uranus. There's the Uranus Fudge Factory. They have an escape room they with Nikolai Tesla themed escape room. They have a freak show and carnival museum, and it's really great. There's a sword swallower who works for the Sideshow Museum. Her name is Kat. She has tattoos of spots all over her.
Cat.
Leopard spots. Like,
Yeah.
and Kat is it's watching her perform is kind of amazing because she swallows the sword, right?
Yeah.
And there's a electric generator, electric field generator. You know, one of those things. Like you put your hands on it, your hair stands on it. One of those things. I don't know what they're called. And she'll swallow the sword and then put it next to the thing, and it zaps from the thing to the sword while she's got it
Ouch.
down her throat.
Feels like it might hurt.
Yes. Now here is the thing, though, about Kat is that Kat's stage banter. I am going to do an impression of Kat stage banter, and this is not. I am not making fun of her. This is not hyperbole. This is exactly how it goes. I once saw that maybe we have a two-headed snake here, and now, from what I understand, it works in Congress. Like that, like she's memorized the words, and it's very workmanlike.
Yeah.
This is a sword, and I'm going to put the sword in my throat, and you should never put a sword in your throat when you're in Uranus. And then, you know, that kind of like, it's all, I can't do it justice because I'm trying too hard. She is not trying too hard. She's just doing, she's like, I have a job. I'm going to get on this stage. I'm going to tell these jokes in this order. I'm going to swallow a sword. I'm going to zap it. And then I'm going to be done.
Like she's a circus performer, but not a stage performer. So maybe she's nervous about being in front of people, but you know, stuff like
no, she's not nervous. That's the best thing. She knows that she has to be there. She's, I mean, Ben,
is it
the
shtick?
Coolness. Here's the thing. If it's shtick, it's brilliant. Amazing. And if it's not shtick, it's still pretty amazing. Because she has to deal with some unique people who come in. Betty and I were in the museum, and there was a group coming in, and they're like, "Well, Mom, look at her. Look at her. She got spots painted all on her." And the cat was like, "These are actually tattoos. They're tattoos. You got tattoos." And then Cat's like, "Okay, first of all, why are you behind the counter now? That's not what we do. So just get on the other side of the counter." And so then they get out of the counter, and then it's like, do you want to see me swallow a sword? There's going to be a show. You just have to pay this much to get in the museum. And they're like, "No, I'm not going to do that." Okay. Well, okay, I'll do that. Like that kind of just this weird level of interpersonal reaction. Like they're there, but they aren't really people. Like they aren't doing the things that you want people to do. Like, "Hi, how are you?" Here we are in the thing. Like, I have learned to do I hate small talk, but I have learned to do it. So the hard part for me is the dismount.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm talking to you. Well, you know this. You've seen it already. Every single time in our relationship. When it's time for me to leave, when you stay there and I'm leaving, I have a hard time. Like, okay, well, guess I'm going. All right, see you later, Paul. Yeah. Gonna go. Yep. I'll go out the door then. And I'll see you. Yeah. And apparently, it really does take me.
apparently that machine that sparks, or not sparks, or yeah, I guess it does spark. It's called a Van de Graaff generator.
Yeah, a Van de Graaff generator. That is absolutely correct. Thanks, Ben. It's very good.
Oh, that was all, Steven.
Oh, Steven. Thanks, Steven. Van de Graaff generator.
Real-time fact-checking.
LeVar Burton no longer wants to do Jeopardy, by the way.
Yeah, saw that. Now we get Ken Jennings and Mayim Bialik.
Which both of them are delightful, I find. So that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Ken Jennings would be a great successor to Alex Trebek. He seems affable enough.
Yeah, and I know that Malik doesn't want to do it forever. That's something that it's fine because it's temporary. So
Malik?
Who knows?
You mean Mayim?
Yeah. Malik. What did I say? I said Malik.
Mayim
Malik
Bialik.
is somebody. Yeah, Malik is somebody completely different.
You sort of squished the two names together.
Yes, that is correct. Sorry, everybody.
Speaking of squishing two names together, I think it's time for the GudeLaurance podcast to say goodbye.
Oh no, Ben, that's where you're wrong. We still have
I've got
minute and a half.
No, I got us at over an hour, so we're done. We're done here.
Well, Ben, guess what? I'm looking at the time that we've recorded. Remember, we had a false start, Ben.
Something's wrong with your internal clock there, Paul.
Oh no, I don't think so, Ben. I've been recording this whole time. Remember when we started and you're like, "Oh, did we stop? Was that a false start?" And I said yes, and then I had to, that's what's happening. And trust me, Ben, nobody wants to leave this last 2 minutes of the podcast more than me, but I'm soldiering on. My phone has not died yet, so that's good.
Are you still gonna keep on doing the show even after we stop streaming and stop recording? You're just gonna stay there until your phone dies?
No,
just as a matter of principle.
I was gonna continue to the end of this hour, whether or not my phone died. So if my phone dies, then I will continue on with my phone off. But if the minute ends before my phone goes off,
the hour,
then oh shoot, that's right, the hour. Well, I meant the minute, like this last minute.
Are we in the last final minute?
We are in the last minute, starting. Yeah.
Boys, Zoom does not like that noise, I'll tell you that much.
We're in the last minute, and nobody likes that noise, Ben. And I can tell you for a fact that Jennifer had suggested that, because I would do it to Betty when she was a little baby, and Jennifer was like, "You're traumatizing her."
Yeah, you've
and
ruined
I'm like,
Betty.
I think she likes it. And then finally I said, "Hey, Betty, you remember this?" And she's like, "Yeah, I hate it." So I was like, "Okay." So Jennifer won that one. There's a lot of things. I'm so glad that Jennifer stopped me from doing like psychological testing on Betty, things like that. It's a much better life for her than if I had sole input into what Betty's upbringing would have been like.
It's one little scientific
we can give you the laundry list
after
one
another.
Day.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, speaking about which, hey Ben, keep it wrong, buddy.
Hey Paul,
Talk
keep
to you
it
later.
wrong. Talk to you next week.
Bye.